Poland is nowadays right in the middle of Europe. Too far east to be fully Western, too far west to be Russian. It's got the Baltic Sea to the north, Germany to the west, and well, Russia just a little too close for Poland's comfort. It's mostly flat, which is great for farming and invading its land. It is a land with a long history, and that, my friends, is what I will talk about. Before Poland, there was just a bunch of Slavic tribes migrating, and one part of them migrated into the Eastern Europe, where they started farming, killing natives of these lands, and occasionally harassing locals' beavers. They didn't have a name for their land, but eventually one tribe, called the Polans, started getting bigger and stronger. Their leader, Mieszko I, decided it was time to stop being just some guy and became the first documented ruler of the Duchy of Poland, which was the first Polish state. His son even made it the Kingdom of Poland. From there, Poland spent centuries expanding, fighting off German knights and building castles. But it wasn't just about fighting. The Krakow University was founded in the 1364, making it one of the oldest universities in Europe. The country even survived the Mongol invasion, but Poland's greatest rise was yet to come. In 1569, Poland and Lithuania fell in love and merged into one state with the hatred towards Russia. This led to the creation of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, one of the largest and most multicultural states in Europe. This was Poland's golden age, the time of trade, science, and a unique political system where nobles elected their king, but while the system gave a lot of freedom, it also created instability, and instability, as history often shows, invites trouble. By the 1700s, Poland had become politically weak. The nobles were too busy arguing to see the danger at their borders. Russia, Prussia, and Austria saw an opportunity and decided to carve up Poland. Little by little, the first partition came in 1772, and Poland lost a huge chunk of its land. The second partition in 1793 weakened it even further. By the third partition in 1795, Poland had completely disappeared from the map. It was gone, erased, split between its powerful neighbors. But the Polish people never accepted it. They preserved their language, their culture. The Kosciuszko uprising in 1794 was a desperate attempt to push back against the foreign rule, but it failed. Decades later, in 1830, Polish rebels rose up again in what became known as the November Uprising against Russian control. That was crushed too. The January Uprising of 1863 followed, but once again Poland faced brutal repression. Russia even went as far as banning the Polish language in schools, trying to erase Polish identity. But the people held on. When Napoleon Bonaparte rose to power, the Poles saw a light of hope. In 1807, he created the Duchy of Warsaw, a small Polish state, because of thousands of Poles fought for Napoleon, believing he would restore their country. But when he fell, the Congress of Vienna in 1815 handed Poland over to Russian control. Poland was back to being a province under a foreign empire. Then came World War I. Poland's occupiers, Russia, Germany, and Austria, were now fighting each other, and for the first time in over a century, Poland had a chance. Thanks to strong leadership, political maneuvering, and a bit of luck, Poland regained its independence in 1918, after 123 years of non-existence. But just 2 years later, Poland had to fight again, this time against Soviet Russia. Against all odds, Poland won the Battle of Warsaw in 1920, stopping the spread of communism into Europe. But the peace wouldn't last long. In 1939, Poland was invaded from both sides. Germany attacked from the west, the Soviet Union from the east. Poland fought with a lot of teeth, but there was little hope against two superpowers. The country was occupied, millions of Poles were killed, Warsaw was reduced to rubble, and 6 million Polish citizens, including 3 million Polish Jews, were murdered in the Holocaust. Yet, Poland never stopped resisting. Polish pilots played a crucial role in the Battle of Britain. The Polish resistance carried out sabotage missions, smuggled intelligence to the Allies, and in 1944 launched the Warsaw Uprising against the Nazis. It was one of the largest resistance efforts of the war, but in the end it was brutally crushed, while the Soviet Red Army stood by and did nothing. After the war, Poland was liberated, quote-unquote, by the Soviet Union, which really meant it was turned into a communist puppet state. For the next 40 years, Poland was under Moscow's control. Life was harsh. There were food shortages, political repression, and no real freedom. But in the 1980s, an electrician named Lech Walesa led the Solidarity movement, the first independent trade union in the Eastern Bloc. Protests, strikes, and growing resistance forced the government to hold free elections in 1989. Communism fell, and for the first time in decades, Poland was truly free. Since then, Poland has been on the rise. It joined NATO in 1999 and the European Union in 2004. Its economy has grown into one of the strongest in the Eastern Europe, and its military has modernized rapidly, with its economy booming. Military growing and influence increasing in Europe, Poland could become the leader of Eastern Europe, or maybe even all of Europe. If history has taught us anything, it's this. Poland never stays down for long, so don't be surprised if in a few decades Poland is calling the shots. And that's all about Poland. Thank you for your attention, have a nice day, leave a like, and bye!